There are a few products in our life that, like, many of us can't even go without thinking that it doesn't exist in our homes or apartments. For example, like we're so used to buying sliced bread for decades and decades and decades. I saw an old TV short classic from the 1920s, and in the episode, you actually see this elderly lady selling sliced bread, and it has like big old pictures on it that look very familiar on the packaging way back in the 1920s. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, this is Jan. Welcome to another episode of Save Money and More with Jan channel. How you doing today? Hope as always that this audio video finds everybody doing well. Thanks for being here. And let's get right into it. There are a few products that, the same way we think of sliced bread, for example, as a common thing that many people have, we shouldn't take them for granted, in my opinion. Some people have them, some people don't. Some people don't realize that these things are very useful. Excuse my little cough. There you go. So I'm going to name them. Baking soda. Baking soda, I've used it for years. I use it in conjunction with my favorite toothpaste a little bit. I mix the toothpaste with the baking soda, and it sort of helps form like an additional mild abrasive to when I use my electric toothbrush. It's very handy. I also like to make, when I'm running low on toothpaste, sometimes I'd like to do this independently, a little bit of a mixture of baking soda and carefully a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, make a little paste out of that. Follow directions to do that. And of course, very good rinses. This is just something that I do. But baking soda is very handy. You clean out your refrigerator with it, and you keep the box open in the back of your fridge, and it actually absorbs like those refrigerator smells that sometimes happens when you have different sort of pungent foods in the back of your refrigerator. So that absolutely helps absorb odor. It's an amazing thing. The next thing is vinegar. So let's talk about vinegar for a minute. Vinegar is not a disinfectant by any stretch of the imagination. But however, what vinegar does well, vinegar cuts grease. That has been my experience with vinegar. It's very handy. I'll tell you in a minute another thing I like to do with the vinegar. Sometimes I just like to make a vinegar water mixture and just like go around so people can't get past the smell. Personally, a mild smell of vinegar for a half a second or two does not bother me. That smell to me goes away pretty darn fast, but that's me. Everyone is different and everybody's reaction is different. But vinegar does help reduce and cut down on grease. It is not disinfectant. All right. Chlorine bleach, got to get, there are a couple of versions, kind that you get at, let's say, dollar type stores, $1.25 type stores, will in all probability be a milder, weaker strength, as opposed to the one you may get somewhere else, let's say in a janitorial type of store. But chlorine bleach it kills germs. Chlorine bleach is factual that it does kill germs. So it's, to me, relatively inexpensive. It's good, good to keep in the house. Now, I also love to work with, as I mentioned before, hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, it's a great non-smelly stain lifter. For example, if certain stains, it literally like pulls it up. Pour a capful of hydrogen peroxide, for example, on a spot of clothing, and see what happens. Especially like blood stains, for example, it might come right up. You see it literally lift the stain up in a few minutes, and you just wipe it down. Hydrogen peroxide has many purposes. Read the bottle, follow the directions. Next, I'd like to mention this, and I have mentioned this for those who have not heard it, because maybe they never heard of it or you're just new to the channel. And thank you so much for being here. Again, I really appreciate every single one of you. Just mix together, okay, 1/3 of a bottle, those spray pump bottles you get at the dollar type store. 1/3 of that bottle, for example, with original Dawn dish liquid. To me, that's, that is really good stuff. And you need so little, and it really works. And the remainder, let's say 1/3 of the bottle of Dawn dish liquid, the other rest of it, just regular white distilled vinegar, the cheap one that you get. A big bottle of that vinegar goes a long way in conjunction with the Dawn. You're probably going to think that you're going to get this thick because there's Dawn dish liquid in it trying to come out of the pump. No. For some reason, the vinegar transforms it into like a watery, easy to spray substance. It is absolutely amazing. It's a very helpful cleaner and very, very inexpensive. So I strongly recommend that you get the following: baking soda, vinegar, chlorine bleach, hydrogen peroxide, and of course a bottle of Dawn dish liquid. This is just so very relatively inexpensive, and it will last a long, long time if you're careful in its usage. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here all week long for these no frills types of videos. Some of them ran a little over time. Usually I keep them 5 minutes or below, but I had to talk a little more on some of these, like even right now. But I believe that's all right. Wishing everybody an amazing upcoming weekend. If you enjoy my longer form content as well, come back weekday afternoons at 2 o'clock for that. So many of those videos are maybe in the 10 to 14 minute range sometimes. So if you like that longer form content by 2 o'clock, many people are reaching for that mid-afternoon cup of tea or iced tea or coffee or whatever. You kick back and take a few minutes for yourself and just zone out and listen to another show. Again, thank you for being here. Don't forget to click like, share, and of course, consider subscribing to this channel. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. See you Monday.